Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Proton Pack Podcast. I'm Kris, and with me always is the Godzilla to my Kong, Mr. Tony Sanfilippo. Tony, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. It's been a while. I mean, it's
been a while.
I think it's been about a month, right?
It really has.
It's been a while since we've done the Proton Pack, but we will get to it in Shameless Plugs. But we've been quite busy.
Yeah, exactly. Busy, trying to coordinate timing. We're doing this in the late morning on a Wednesday when we would normally do it on a Sunday before. But regardless, we are here. We are here for you guys. Talk about geeky, nerdy, pop culture, comic book, all the fun stuff that you know and love from the Proton Pack Podcast. Tony, why don't we go ahead and get into it and just go straight into our Shameless Plugs?
Shameless Plug time.
It's Shameless Plug time!
It is in these hills that Juan Valdez and his trusty goat gather coffee beans every morning. Yeah.
Money's cool.
Money's
cool.
always cool, right?
Exactly. Well, the first shameless plug is my dog rescue nonprofit, Rough Riders, over at roughriders.org. That's RUFF-Riders.org. It is a local 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to the transport of dogs from the rural kill shelters, for lack of a better term, into the metro area here, where we work with local shelters, local rescue organizations, find them homes, give them a second chance at life. As I mentioned, you can go over to roughriders.org or Facebook at facebook.com/roughriderssaves. Quick and easy, short and painless. Tony, you do something with our good buddy Jimmy Jones called Pop Culture Kaboom. Why don't you tell us about that?
I do a little Sunday segment. It's like a 40-minute entertainment segment where we cover horrible movie trailers, not so horrible sometimes. We do our little synopsis takes on them and let you guys know if you should see these or not. Mostly the time they are touch browns and bad movies, but we cover that. And then discuss, right now we're discussing WandaVision. We were discussing Mandalorian after. But that's what I do with them. But Jimmy Jones puts on a fantastic pop culture show. You can listen to it on KNVC, Carson City Community Radio, if you're local, 95.1 FM. If you're listening from Nebraska or wherever, that would be knvc.org, and that's Pop Culture Kaboom Sundays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It is now a 3-hour show. Everything you want, everything you need, everything in pop culture, as Jimmy says. You can find it with Pop Culture Kaboom. Again, knvc.org, 95.1 FM, Carson City Community Radio.
KNVC.
KNVC.
And then finally, in Shameless Plugs, Tony and I do a show daily, every morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Phoenix Media, called the Christian Phoenix Radio Show. It is a morning drive time comedy variety show. We talk different topics. We've got different daily segments. We've got call-in interactive portion of the show. And, it is just a good time every day for 2 hours. But it does take up a lot of our time, and obviously that's the reason that you haven't seen us here on the Proton Pack in a little while. But regardless, we are making an effort to make this, again, a regular thing for our pop culture, nerdy, geeky fans, where we only just touch on that a little bit with the Christian Phoenix Radio Show.
Yeah, you guys should be getting Proton Pack. We'd say this all the time. I think it's been a long time since we said we'd update the sound intros and stuff, but realistically, between having your full-time gig with Phoenix Media and other endeavors, and still trying to be a great fiance and have personal and family time, I work a full-time gig with Costco and do the morning show. I do Jimmy's show. So it is hard to squeeze these in. But we've found some free time to help out our buddy Tim Nidell as well with Be Kind Rewind and being on Be Kind Rewind Trivia. That's been a lot of fun. So where I'm going with this is hopefully every other Sunday night we'll record these on a Monday and air them on a Sunday evening or something, so you guys get these or whenever we decide to put them out. So,
Exactly, yeah.
But should be more updated, so bear with us this episode. Some of the articles might be a little dated just by a week or so, not too bad, but it's still within the realm and time frame of what's going on in entertainment and pop culture.
Exactly, and just know that we're gonna re-up our dedication to you guys, the listeners and watchers of this show, so that way we've got something regular coming out for you. We'll make the time to put it together, even if it's a short show. Sometimes there's not a lot of news, but we like to cover what there is out there.
Absolutely, and this is a shout out to Adam at work. He hit me up the other day. He said, "Tony, come on, man, where's your I'm almost all caught up with Proton Pack. Win some new ones." Well, Adam, there you go. If you're listening, I'm giving you a shout out, buddy. Giving you a shout out on the show.
There you go.
It's a new one for you.
With the shameless plugs out of the way, let's go ahead and kick off the show the way we do each and every episode with a little TV news. Tony, go ahead and hit that intro.
Bazinga! The cream of the crop!
Hey, baby.
Let's go, Bug.
Excellent.
Hail to the king, baby.
Boom shakalaka. So in the last episode, we talked a little bit, actually the entire episode was dedicated to the Marvel series that are coming to Disney Plus and what's coming out in the movie theaters, but mostly Disney Plus TV. We're well into WandaVision at this point. We're almost to the midway point, in fact. Absolutely love it, and we can expect new things coming out from Disney Plus as we go along. We did want to touch, however, on the Star Wars television series that are coming out for Disney Plus, specifically here in 2020. Obviously, there's more going. Here in 2021. I forgot what year we were in, but there will be more.
Well, the last time we
beyond.
did one was 2020, so
I know.
Fairness, you have the okay to make a boo-boo there.
Exactly. It's been a while. So, Disney dumped a whole bunch of news on Star Wars properties that are coming, but the first one that we're going to see here in 2021 is Star Wars The Bad Batch. Most likely, Star Wars The Bad Batch will be the first of these to materialize. This animation follow-up to Star Wars The Clone Wars is set shortly after the events of Episode 3. It follows the titular team of elite clone troopers as they seek out a new destiny following the end of the war and the rise of the Empire. We don't know much else about the plot yet, though the first teaser trailer confirms the team will run into future Grand Moff Tarkin during the course of the series. It also remains to be seen if The Bad Batch is a limited series or if Lucasfilm is producing multiple seasons. If you watched the final season of the Clone Wars that they re-released for Netflix, you will have already been introduced to The Bad Batch, and this is sort of just a continuation of that. Looks great. I love the Clone Wars. I know you did too, Tone.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I definitely did not hate it. So, that's where the soundbite was supposed to pop in. It's delayed. It's delayed.
Always taking the high ground, Tone. All right. Another project that I wasn't familiar with. Star Wars Visions. The other big animated Star Wars project for 2021 is Star Wars Visions. This series features 10 short episodes allowing various Japanese anime directors an opportunity to play in the Star Wars sandbox. I get the sense that this won't be canon. This will be more like just sort of one-offs of different people doing their art form of Star Wars characters.
Yeah, it should be interesting. I'd like to see when they get a trailer going, if it intrigues me. I know if it's Star Wars, I'll definitely watch it for sure.
Yeah, I'm not big on the anime styles. We've talked about it before with some of the video game projects coming to Netflix, but at least it's worth a check out. And then finally coming in...
Japanimation Sith War.
Exactly.
I am your father.
Coming in 2021, the Book of Boba Fett. On the live action front, there's good news and bad news. We probably won't be getting a third season of The Mandalorian in 2021. However, we are getting the first Mandalorian spin-off in the form of the Book of Boba Fett, which features Boba and his new right-hand woman, Fennec Shand, as they take control of the late Jabba's criminal empire. They expect that to debut in December, and of course we got a little tease of that at the very end, basically the post-credit scene of the last episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think this one is going to be a good show. I think this one will be really good because it's not Favreau is not doing these ones, right? He's not running those.
I don't think he is.
Might produce, but he's not the main guguy.
Yeah, he's going to be an executive producer.
He's all focused on Mandalorian, as he should.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dave Filoni doesn't show run that series.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be good. I think it would be a good run for a limited series.
Yeah. You having some trouble with the soundboard over there, Tone?
I'm excited for it, nonetheless. Yeah, soundboard ain't... And what's weird is I have new material, but it's also hard to navigate two different computers for soundboards. So.
It's funny. I look over.
Fired it up on one. Oh, you know why I can't fire it up on the one is because I use the headphones to listen, and you can't do it. So.
Makes sense.
And things are not organized on this soundboard, so you got to scroll over and look to try to find. I was looking for.
I like those odds.
But they're not all together. All the Star Wars stuff is scattered.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to move away from Star Wars now, back into the Marvel side of Disney Plus. Continuing with Disney Plus TV shows, Marvel's Kevin Feige has revealed the length and episode count of the upcoming She-Hulk series on Disney Plus. In an interview with IGN, Feige confirmed Marvel's She-Hulk will consist of 10 half-hour episodes. That puts She-Hulk above fellow Marvel series like WandaVision, which is 9 episodes, and The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is only 6 episodes. However, Feige told IGN most of these MCU series are designed to clock in around the 6-hour mark in total length, and the material dictates the exact format of and the episode count. It's about 6 hours of content, said Feige. Sometimes that'll be 6 episodes. Sometimes that'll be 9 episodes in the case of WandaVision. Sometimes that'll be 10 episodes. You basically have 10 half-hour episodes, which is what She-Hulk will be. Feige noted one of the main benefits of Disney Plus is that things like syndicated reruns and commercial breaks aren't a factor, allowing teams to focus on telling the best possible stories. Obviously, Marvel She-Hulk stars Orphan Black's Tatiana Maslany as Jennifer Walters, the lawyer who gains incredible strength after receiving a blood transfusion from her cousin Bruce Banner. And of course, we're probably going to see Mark Ruffalo in some sort of role in there. And it looks like, boy, I think they're aiming for December, though it doesn't say exactly when we can expect She-Hulk. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a character that we haven't seen yet in the MCU on the big screen, but we are going to see her on the little screen.
Yeah, I think with already having WandaVision 4 episodes in as of this recording, I think this bodes well. I'm already hooked on the Marvel. It seems like they've got a good flow following the Star Wars fantastic Mandalorian series. So, yeah, bring me more Marvel. I'm a little shocked to hear that Winter Soldier and Falcon is only 6 episodes, but that must mean that they're going to be almost an hour-long episode because...
Exactly.
So the way you're going to get that. So you're pretty much getting 2 episodes a week in one length thing. So.
Yeah. Now, speaking of more Marvel on Disney Plus, this is obviously something they didn't talk about in their big Disney Plus dump a few weeks back, or even a month ago at that point when we actually did a previous show. But Marvel's Black Panther is getting a Kingdom of Wakanda tie-in series on Disney Plus. Black Panther and Black Panther 2 director Ryan Coogler is attached to the Wakanda series as part of the 5-year deal between his Proximity Media company and Disney. Coogler has released a statement saying, in part, that it's an honor to be partnering with the Walt Disney Company. Working with them on Black Panther was a dream come true. As avid consumers of television, we couldn't be happier to be launching our television business with Bob Iger, Dana Walden, and all the amazing studios under the Disney umbrella. In his continuing statement, Ryan Coogler teased Marvel's Black Panther fans with what's to come. We look forward to learning, growing, and building a relationship with audiences all over the world through the Disney platforms. We're especially excited that we will be taking our first leap with Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, Victoria Alonso, and their partners at Marvel Studios, where we'll be working closely with them on select MCU shows for Disney+. We're already in the mix on some projects that we can't wait to share. Now, there's not much information about what World of Wakanda will, Kingdom of Wakanda will be about, who it will involve. My guess is it will be sort of the supporting players of the Black Panther franchise, especially since we lost Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, and may even introduce who is going to take up the mantle. Tony, is this one that you're excited about?
Oh, yeah. Before Black Panther came out, I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't really know the backstory or anything. But they did a fantastic job with that movie. It was entertaining. It was great. You like Shuri. She's fantastic. I'd almost think that she's going to take up the mantle, as that gives, young females or even older females a superhero they could root for if they don't like the males necessarily. You always got to love the diversity and the mix of everybody. So, yeah, I look forward to it. Based on Coogler being involved, and it'll have the same feel and flow of the movie. So yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, next to Chadwick Boseman and of course Michael B. Jordan's character in Black Panther, Shuri's character was by far the next best. She was funny, action packed. I think she'd be great to take up that mantle. I
mean, it's too bad maybe they could find a way to bring back Michael B. Jordan. Maybe this is like an earlier telling. I don't know, because he did great in his role, and he was such a wicked villain in that movie.
Yeah, so good. Not the last we'll see of him. And of course, and we'll talk about it a little bit, but Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness has the possibility of bringing some of these characters back potentially. So
definitely, except Black Panther.
Exactly. Unfortunately,
can't bring him back.
Well, folks, that does it for the TV news. Let's go ahead and roll into movies. But before we get to the movie news, let's talk box office report for last weekend.
Here
you go, Tone. I've got this one ready.
I was slipping on my soundboard duties. I was focusing, and then I was like, "Oh, that's the cue to hit my that same sound button." I have the movie one ready because I have at least the proton packs. They're all lumped together, so that's easy for that job. But I didn't have that one ready, so thanks, Christian, for having that.
Tony can go a little squirrel sometimes when it...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm exhausted, too. So I'm not exactly the most mentally in everything. I'm giving all my energy I've got.
Exactly. Well, we are talking box office report for the previous weekend. Obviously, depending on when this show is published, you might be looking a little less than a week prior, but there's not a whole lot to report. With the number one spot going to The Little Things, starring Denzel Washington.
The Little Things.
Yowie wowie.
Also has Rami Malek and Jared Leto, brought in a whopping $4.8 million. Not a whole lot.
$4.8 million? Woo! That's a hell of a haul, bud.
But at the same time, they did release it on HBO Max as well, same day. So if you are an HBO Max subscriber, you can watch it from the comfort of your home. And it's not really one of those blockbuster type movies that people go to the theaters to see, but it was enough to take number one.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it at home. I mean, I want to support movies in theaters, but this one definitely was more of a I'd watch it from home kind of thriller.
Exactly. Number two at the box office was The Croods: A New Age. I'm surprised it's still in the theaters. It brought in another $1.84 million, bringing its total to $43.9. Doing pretty good for itself.
Yeah, it's been rolling since Thanksgiving. So it's definitely still trugging along.
Wonder Woman 1984 was in third spot with $1.3 million, bringing its domestic total to $39.2 million. I know worldwide it's made much more than that. Hopefully made its money back, considering how terrible of a movie it actually was.
Yeah, and we didn't cover it on this show, but that movie, awful.
Terrible.
It was one of the worst sequels. It just lackluster.
Right. We loved the first one. Just not
Yeah.
fans of the second. In
No,
fourth,
and it scares me. I'm worried about the Rogue Squadron movie now.
I'm a little bit too. In fourth place was Taken 37. I mean, The Marksman, starring Liam Neeson. It brought in $1.25 million for a domestic total of $7.8 million. Not a huge haul, but enough for number 4.
Oh, okay.
In fifth place was Monster Hunter, brought in $740,000 for a total of $11.1 million. If you enjoyed the Resident Evil movies, go check it out. If you didn't, don't watch it. It was somewhat entertaining.
You didn't like it, huh?
It was okay.
It's on demand here in a couple of weeks, and then it's on Blu-ray next month. So you can check it out at home very soon.
Yeah, it was perfectly okay. And then rounding out the top 10, I'm going to run down these last 5 real quick. We had News of the World with $540,000, Promising Young Women with $260,000, Fatale with $220,000, The War with Grandpa with $147,000, and Our Friend with $135,000. Half those movies I'm not even familiar with, so it's hard to speak to them, and I'm shocked that The War with Grandpa is still making money.
Oh, that thing. Probably the most profitable movie in the entire pandemic, right?
Right.
Like that movie sat on the shelf, was done in 2017 or 18, sat on a shelf, no distribution. Somebody's like, we need something, just put it out.
The studio timed that right for sure.
Yeah, so good on them, because that thing would never have made it. Especially Robert De Niro in a kid movie.
No. And Christopher Walken, and they both play characters of themselves at this point. It's not entertaining to watch. So, but
I didn't know Walken was in there.
He is, unfortunately.
Wow. Wow, Christian. Yeah, that was a bad Walken.
All right, Tony, get that button ready because it is time to go into the movie news.
Movies.
And here we go.
Are you the keymaster?
Wrap it up, fuzzball.
We came, we saw, we kicked his ass.
This baby hits 88 miles per hour. You're gonna see some serious shit.
Yeah, we are.
Great Scott! I said shit on the proton pack!
Speaking of seeing some serious shit, our trailer of the week this week is something we referenced in the opening of the show, Godzilla vs. Kong. We're slowly starting to get trailers for the big blockbusters coming out, especially those that are going to appear on HBO Max. And this is the first of them. Of course, it is the follow-up to Godzilla King of Monsters and Kong Skull Island. And of course, pits the two big bad, what would you call them, kaiju against each other. Brings back Millie Bobby Brown from Godzilla King of Monsters.
It's her prerogative.
Alexander Skarsgård, who is one of the Skarsgård acting brothers, playing Randall Flagg in The Stand right now. Rebecca Hall.
Pennywise's brother.
Exactly, who's a great actress. And, Godzilla's sort of serving as the antagonist, Kong as the protagonist, and it looks like just sort of a fun blockbuster, popcorn-eating, beat-em-up, big budget, big sound, big explosion movie that, we'll post this on our Facebook page, but let us know what you guys think. Are you looking forward to it? Are you sick of the kaiju? Personally, I'm looking forward to it. What about you, Tone?
Yeah, absolutely. I was telling you right before we did the show that I need to go back and watch the second Godzilla because I haven't seen it since the Elizabeth Olsen and Aaron Johnson one, which I think was the first of it, right? Like that led into the second.
Exactly. Those are all tied together. Yeah. It does not have to do with the Godzilla Matthew Broderick one from 1999.
Yeah, I didn't think it had that one with P. Diddy doing a butcher job on a Zeppelin classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely doesn't tie to that. And then I got to see Kong Skull Island. See, I was so confused because I now get it because Universal owns King Kong, but they don't necessarily own the Kong name, so they can call it.
Exactly.
Now, get away with doing the Kong.
Have you seen Kong Skull Island at all?
No.
Oh, it's entertaining as hell. In fact, we just watched it.
It's got Samuel L. Jackson, right?
Yeah, it's got Nick Fury, Loki, and Captain Marvel in it.
Oh. Yeah.
And one of the Nova Corps.
Yeah. I'll definitely get to check it out because I want to get all caught up and be ready for it. Talked to a few super fans, a.k.a. Jimmy from the show, and he's pumped. Like, he's going to rent out a theater in Carson City, and they're going to do a showing. So
Very cool.
we've got the invite for it. He's like, can you get it off? And I'm like, we'll try.
I'll be there. Yeah, and Kong Skull Island is on HBO Max right now, so is Godzilla King of Monsters. And, of course, this is going to drop on HBO Max as well. Though in this article, it doesn't say the release date, though I think they're shooting for March, if I'm not
It's
mistaken.
the second week in March. I think it's March 11th
Okay.
is when it comes out.
That works.
I'm sorry. Yeah, March 12th it's coming out.
Oh, how dare you be off by one day.
Yeah, by
dare
one
you.
day, March 12th.
All right, let's move on with a more movie news. Unfortunately, it has been pushed back again. It is the namesake of our show. We're talking Ghostbusters Afterlife. This point, they moved it back to November. What, Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah, it's now coming out. I think that's November 11th it's come out. It was
Okay.
originally supposed to be June 11th. Well, not originally, but the last date was June 11th before it got pushed back.
Yeah. So we got to wait till November now, unfortunately. But while we wait, fans are finally getting a look at one of the ghosts. The new crew will be what else busting. With COVID-19 pushing numerous movies and shows back to later dates, the first serious look at this new ghost comes from an episode of MasterChef Junior Spain, of all things.
That's so weird.
Right? First spotted by Ghostbusters News, the Spanish cooking show debuted a set featuring a large ghost known as Muncher hanging out near the iconic Ghostbusters Ectomobile, or also known as Ecto-1. Muncher has 6 arms and legs, blue skin, and numerous wrinkles, which quite frankly makes him look like a stunt double for the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. Ghostbusters fans will notice the obvious similarity to the original Ghostbusters Slimer ghost, who I expect we'll probably see in this. Technically, fans have already seen Muncher very, very briefly in the one and only Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer that was released last year. Tony, what do you think of Muncher? Or do you think he's going to be fun along the same lines as Slimer?
Yeah, I think he's going to freak him out, but it fits the mold of what the Ghostbuster ghosts look like. Like, well, you know, like a mix of the Scoleri brothers, you know how they were
Right.
all over the top and blobby. Like, he's definitely looks like the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland. And I went back and watched the trailer, and you do kind of see a blue blur, like they're in the school bus and it comes shooting by and it's blowing the windows out.
Okay.
In the trailer, and I think that's him. That's the only place I spotted anything blue.
Well, the good news is they're going back to the look and feel of the original ghosts as opposed to the terrible remake, which the ghosts look like the ghosts from the Scooby-Doo live action ones.
Like Scoob, there's like so many ghosts here.
Ruggy.
All right, and unfortunately, we got to wait till November to see it.
But from what we've heard, though, Jason Reitman shared it. They screened it for his dad and a couple executives at Sony, and his dad cried and was very proud because it definitely has the feel. So that's great for us Ghostbuster fans because, you know, as much as we were hoping that the woman reboot one was going to have that feel because it's Ghostbusters, it ended up just being one of those crap-ass reboots that nobody asked for.
Exactly. Fell flat, but
I think this is going to be like a good reboot, if anything, because it's in the time frame, it's in the story.
Yeah, it's going to be a true
continuation.
passing of the baton. I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, have to wait till November. You know what never falls flat, though, Tony? The
What's
MCU.
That?
So,
Never. Always delivers.
Oh, yeah. So the Avengers will return eventually. After Avengers Endgame hit theaters and snatched up any and all box office records in its path, Marvel Studios has essentially retired the brand for the next few years at least. After all, Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe arrives this week and kickstarts a year consisting of 10 Marvel movies and shows, each one diving into new character or group we've yet to really explore at length. Of course, I mentioned this week. A few weeks ago, they're talking WandaVision. Fear
Right.
not how
I'm Ron Burgundy.
right. Fear not, however, because Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige says the Avengers will return sometime. They've got to. Speaking with IGN on the press tour for WandaVision, Feige said it's his belief the franchise will return sooner or later. I would have to think so. I would have to say yes at some point. Of what we know regarding the slate propped up for this year and next. Even heading into 2023, an Avengers movie has yet to be unveiled. In fact, it's likely Phase 4 will be the first batch of films from Marvel Studios that won't include at least one Avengers movie. Tony, I don't know about you, but my hope is that the Avengers will return in some form of the Avengers versus X-Men storyline that appeared in the comics, because we know the X-Men are coming. We know that the Avengers are on board for some sort of new film. Don't know what that team's going to look like, but that would be my hope, to see the next iteration of the Avengers.
That's what I'm excited for. You have to take the time to rebuild it up now, because you don't have Chris Evans, you don't have Robert Downey Jr. anymore, and those were two key ones, you know.
Right. You probably won't have
you have to
Chris Hemsworth much longer.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It's all passing of the torch, because we know Natalie Portman's going to take up the new Thor mantle and stuff, and that's okay. That's how these evolve in the comic books. It just continues the storylines, and it's not that they can't make one-offs or appearances. I'm still sure you're going to get references of Tony Stark for the rest of the series, and Captain America, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of stuff referenced to him. I think Winter Soldier and Falcon will end up seeing who takes the mantle at the end. Will it be Bucky or will it be Sam? We'll have to find out who's actually going to take up that the mantle, because they both did in the comics. So
and I don't know if you've been following it, Tony, but there was some pre-release toy news that came out about who might just be taking up that mantle, including the costume that they'll wear. I won't spoil it for you guys if you want to be surprised, but if you do a little digging, you can probably find it.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be great. I would love to see the Avengers come back, and I'd like to see, like you said, the Avengers X-Men storyline. And it is a shame you're not going to get Robert Downey Jr. is not going to meet Reed Richards and all that with the Fantastic Four.
Exactly.
Would have been really cool to do, but in the world of Hollywood, never say never. Money talks. People could come back at some point. Mm-hmm. And plus, it's always nice to tell you no one's coming back, and then they surprise you. All of The Mandalorian. Did you ever expect to see Luke Skywalker go in there and kick some ass?
No way. And then even the Twitterverse exploded recently with news that Chris Evans may return as Captain America in some form, which he denied, but of course that's what he's kind of required to do.
Well, don't they always do, and then something gets spoiled? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know.
Right.
I know Tom Holland's the king of spoiling stuff, and I love Tom Holland. That dude is awesome.
Well, we were talking Chris Hemsworth a little bit ago, and Thor: Love and Thunder is fast developing into a sizable affair cast-wise. Apart from featuring the returning cast from previous Thor movies, the film will also have Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, Star-Lord, and now published photos of two other Guardians of the Galaxy actors arriving on Australia have begun shooting. In the photos, we see Chris Pratt being joined by Karen Gillan, who plays Nebula, and Dave Bautista, who plays Drax. And in this, they put Draw. That's a typo. Sean Gunn, who provides the motion capture for Rocket and portrays Kraglin, also said to be part of the Guardians' entourage. We also know that Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis, will feature in Love and Thunder. It is still not clear whether the Guardians will be playing a major role in the events of the film, or they will have minor roles in the main narrative that focuses on Thor. We've joked before that this is essentially going to be as Guardians of the Galaxy. And then I don't know if you've seen the latest set photos, Tone, but there's a picture of Chris Hemsworth with Chris Pratt in full costume, and it looks like 80s hairband revival.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I was just going to say, man, there's people leaking stuff left and right. But it's also, it's fans. They see where it's set up, and they're going to take pictures and post it. And, we're going to cover these types of things. But, yeah, I like what it's going. And you got Taika Waititi behind the helm, or behind the
in the directing chair.
Yeah, he's calling the shots. And James Gunn even came out and said, he oversaw some of the Guardian. He's going to oversee some of the Guardian stuff, but said Taika has definitely got it nailed down. So
and even fired from Marvel, Taika Waititi was in talks to pick up the Guardians of the Galaxy because they've got sort of similar sensibilities and humor. But it's nice to see that they'll be working together. I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll probably be the funniest movie in the MCU. by far.
I do too. I think it'll top Ragnarok, and Ragnarok was fantastic.
So good.
It was so good. That was like the bet. Like if we ever cover on our other show, the Phoenix radio show, like when we get to best sequels, because we covered horrible sequels today, Ragnarok by far was the best of all the Thors.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think we can maybe arrange for something along those lines. Sticking with the MCU and moving on to a couple other projects that are being worked on right now. Disney provided new details on Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness during an investors' call a little while ago. The sequel to the 2016 superhero and sorcery film is directed by Spider-Man Sam Raimi, the original Spider-Man. It sees Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rachel McAdams, and Benedict Wong all reprising their respective MCU roles. The sequel will see the Sorcerer Supreme team up with his Avengers Infinity War and Endgame teammate Scarlet Witch, once again played by Elizabeth Olsen, as he encounters the horrors and perils of the multiverse. Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige was on hand to confirm that the film will debut on March 25th, 2022. He also said that the film ties into not just the Disney Plus series WandaVision, but also Spider-Man 3. Olsen is in London, currently filming Multiverse of Madness, and joining the production is Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez, who had previously been rumored. Obviously, if you're watching WandaVision right now, there are some weird aspects to it, some almost Twilight Zone aspects that, tie into Multiverse of Madness. And then with everything we've heard about Spider-Man 3, or, the follow-up to Far From Home, it's going to be sort of a Spider-Verse. We're going to see previous incarnations of Peter Parker, Spider-Man, the villains, things along those lines. I'm excited for this whole multiverse storyline all wrapped up together.
I get you. It's because it's cold in here, but I got goosebumps. Just thinking about it. But it's also pretty chilly in here. Man, I love the aspects of the surprises, the people that they can bring back, the things that they're gonna do. Because they've said like this one's gonna be like a scary, not necessarily a scary movie, but a edgier and kind of scarier version. For the MCU than what they're used to. Yeah,
think Sam Raimi, Evil Dead. Scary, funny, all that stuff rolled into one.
Oh, it's going to be crazy good, man. And that's the thing. When you think about this, so many things are shot already that we haven't even got yet. Like Black Widow, The Eternals. They're currently... I mean, that's the good thing. Even though the world's like shut down and dealing with stuff, they're still finding ways to film. Like... Thor and what Spider-Man 3 they're filming right now as we talk. Doctor Strange, like all these are being filmed right now, so that's great. This is all good stuff.
Yeah, there's not a better time to be a Marvel fan than right now.
No, it's just like, man, I'm like, please don't let the world end. I want to see all this. Like, it sounds so good.
Oh, it really does. Now, staying in the MCU and moving to something we just talked about, Spider-Man 3. As rumors swirled around of Spider-Man 3 casting Daredevil actor Charlie Cox to reprise his role from the Netflix series, comicbook.com has learned that the actor was indeed on the set for the Marvel Studios movie. Cox is expected to be playing Matt Murdock in the film alongside Tom Holland's Peter Parker, though at this point it is unclear if we will see the same version of Daredevil that many fans know and love from the Defenders series on Netflix, or if it's some sort of multiversal reboot, which we were just talking about. Considering the inclusion of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange, it's possible that the cinematic universe will be making major changes to Cox's Daredevil in the future. It was first revealed knowledge of Cox being on the Spider-Man 3 set back in December, further in a report originally made by Murphy's Multiverse in early December. Sony did not comment. When asked to address the many rumors surrounding Spider-Man 3 and how the multiverse will come into play, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige would only tease the future based on a known movie title. Of course, we were talking Multiverse of Madness, but it's going to be awesome if Charlie Cox is playing Matt Murdock from the Netflix series Daredevil, tying it all together. And of course, Marvel now has the rights to those characters, so we may see Jessica Jones in the future. We may see Luke Cage in the future, Punisher, Iron Fist, who cares about him? But
Oh, Danny Rand.
are you excited about?
I hope they bring all those back and move them over to like Hulu or something.
I do too.
Because I don't think they'd be. I think they'd be a little too risque for Disney Plus. But then again, The Simpsons are kind of a little risque with some of the stuff, and they air it. So
Yeah, and they might tone it down a little bit, make it a little less R feeling, a little more PG-13. But if they bring the characters back, I'm really looking forward to it. And Charlie Cox was a fantastic Daredevil.
yeah, he was great. That show was an awesome show.
Oh, totally.
Yes, we don't need Ben Affleck or Jennifer Garner back though. Woof, that was a bad one.
And then finally, in movie news, well, unfortunately, it wouldn't be 2020, 2021 without movies on the move. Well, Sony Pictures on Monday staked out an October 8th release date for Morbius, placing the Spider-Man spin-off between the star-studded Dune on October 1st and Blumhouse slasher Halloween Kills on October 15th. The already thrice-delayed Morbius, which stars Jared Leto as the living vampire in the MCU-adjacent Sony's universe of Marvel characters, was planned for July before abandoning 2020 entirely because of the pandemic. In March, Sony moved Morbius to spring 2021 ahead of its other Spider-Man-less spin-off, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. But Tom Hardy's anti-hero now swings into theaters first if he holds on to his June 25th release date. Morbius ditches a superhero-heavy March. It was due to open in theaters on the same day that Marvel Studios premieres its anticipated new series, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, on Disney+. The month also sees the release of the anticipated Zack Snyder's Justice League on Warner Media's HBO Max. Tony, how do you feel about them pushing Morbius again?
Morbius is not even a big main character, so it's not like it's going to be one of these big, massive blockbuster draws. Like, unless you're a comic book the backstory and where he ties in with Spider-Man, it does that. Now, the trailer does at least tie enough where you see Spider-Man in the background. It takes place after Homecoming, and you do see Michael Keaton's Vulture in there. So it's enough to intrigue you, but I don't think the movie's big enough to be you know what I mean? It's not going to save the box office, but we'll see. I mean, if it just gives us more to look forward to later, I guess. I'm really bummed because you really, aside from TV, you don't have a lot coming out. Like, I think Black Widow, they haven't announced it yet, but I'm pretty sure Black Widow is going to get pushed back.
It probably will. Now, other movies
if it hasn't already, and I just didn't cover it, but
not that I've seen, but other movies, other big blockbuster movies have been moved back to either later this year or even next year, including the James Bond movie No Time to Die. F9, the Fast and Furious movie, that's next year. We know Morbius, A Quiet Place 2. It's sad that all of these
Ghostbusters.
movies, that they're all moving back. Just release them, put them in theaters, release them same day on demand on whatever the respective streaming service is. Yeah. And let's move ahead.
I'll go to the movies to see, the big stuff. Like, I always love when we get into April and you start getting the summer blockbuster movies. This is my favorite time of the year, is that first couple months stretch. You're getting out of the springtime, getting into summer, and you're watching the big movies and the sunlight's out late. Right now we're in that cold, crappy, snowy.
Yep.
Gets dark early. I hate this time of the year. Sucks.
Well, hopefully things start opening up and they'll move movies back up a little bit. But folks, that does it for...
We definitely lost on that one.
So that does it for the movie news. Before we get into the video games, I want to touch real quick on something that Tony sent over. It looks pretty intriguing. Riverhorse Games is no stranger to bringing the worlds of Jim Henson to tabletop gaming, having released the highly successful Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal board games in 2016 and 2017, respectively. Now they're back with Labyrinth, the adventure game, which is an RPG for 2 to 5 players that's housed inside a book that's very much like the one Sarah has in the classic 1986 film, starring David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly. The book contains a full-length adventure set inside the world of Labyrinth with over 100 scenes that feature modular elements for replayability. At the time of the writing, it's available to order on Amazon. for $44.77. So if you're a big Jim Henson fan, a David Bowie fan, a Labyrinth fan, and you like tabletop games, you can get that one, which looks really, really interesting.
It does look neat. It's always nice to get the tabletop games. I know they're very popular. There's a lot of places you can go and do tabletop, and when you can start licensing stuff that we grew up with is pretty awesome.
Yeah. I've gotten big into the tabletop games. I like board games and things along those lines, but I've often said that, we grew up in the world of Magic cards. Dungeons & Dragons was a little bit before our time, but it's something I could see myself getting into if there was a group of people that enjoyed it here locally.
Yeah. I do a lot of guys I used to work with at my last Costco. Well, the previous one before that. Sorry, I forgot there was that nightmare stint for a while.
Right.
But the one before that, there's a couple of guys like you would never think, but they were big into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Fun stuff. It is definitely the time of geeks and nerds where, before we were just made fun of at school. Well, now we are king. Well, folks, we are going to head into our final segment now. Tony, get that button ready because now we are talking video game news.
Woo!
Hey man, you want to play some video games?
Now, before we get into the video game news, I mentioned we're doing this on a Wednesday. It's now afternoon for Tony. He has to get ready for work here shortly. How much time do we have, Tone, before you got to start getting ready?
We're good, man.
Okay. Well, that's right. You're working late.
I got a later shift today, so we're okay. Now, if it was the other one, this would be the clinch in the butt cheeks and dude, we gotta.
All right.
But no, we can. We're not under no time constraint. Right
Perfect. Well, we've got a handful of video game stories that are downright interesting. For instance, Arcade 1-Up has unveiled a new slate of cabinets and titles that nostalgic gamers are sure to remember, including classics such as X-Men, Dragon's Lair, Killer Instinct, and more. The classic X-Men arcade game will feature 4-player action and will also be packed with another Marvel beat-em-up classic, Captain America and the Avengers, as well as the rare fighting game, Avengers in Galactic Storm. Now, I never played that one. I don't know about you, Tone.
Never played Avengers in the Galactic Storm. I don't know what that is. Don't know what the graphics look like. I think after the show I'll Google it. I always think to Google it to look, and I don't know. But I don't know if Konami made it. If it was a Konami fighting game, it's probably not going to be good.
Right. And then Captain America and the Avengers.
If it was Capcom.
Right. Captain America and the Avengers, another beat-em-up game. That one featured the white version of Vision, which I'm hoping that they do in the series WandaVision, that when they officially bring him back, he's the all-white version, which would be pretty cool. Now,
yeah, that would be sweet. And the X-Men one, I really want this cabinet, man. It's just...
Well,
man, it's X-Men. I'm obviously sporting X-Men today. No tie to this, but it's X-Men. It's my favorite.
I check every day. As soon as it's up for pre-order, I'm pre-ordering it. It's too good to pass up. The Killer Instinct cabinet will include both the first and second arcade games, as well as the added bonus of Battletoads Arcade. And Dragon's Lair will include both the first and second games and spiritual sequel Space Ace. Arcade 1-Up also announced a new line of titles.
I wouldn't get the Dragon's Lair one.
No, they're too hard. They announced a new line of titles they're calling Legacy Edition arcade cabinets, which will showcase classic games from Capcom, Atari, and Bandai. These cabinets are replicas from the original arcades released back in the day, with Capcom in the style of Street Fighter II, Bandai in the style of Pac-Man, and Atari in the style of Tempest. Unlike previous Arcade 1-Up releases, each of these cabinets will include 12 titles each, so showcasing some of the best retro games from each publisher. And along those lines, I pre-ordered the Capcom Legacy Edition. It's got so many good Capcom fighting games on it, and some side-scrollers as well. And that comes out March 15th.
Yeah, that one's going to be awesome. I think the one you picked up is fantastic. It's got the 12 games. I mean, yeah, it's got a bazillion versions of Street Fighter on there, but you got Strider and Final Fight, and you got some good stuff on there for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And as I mentioned, the classic X-Men arcade, when that comes available, And then in the meantime, I'll have to see what comes out in the next slate of games because they can get quite pricey and expensive.
Oh yeah, they're not cheap to collect these things. They're very pricey. Like the Killer Instinct cabinet looks great. I don't think the games hold up that well for the original Killer Instincts. I got them on Xbox Live, and ooh, you know, like you got to go back to the Nintendo 64 era, like when those graphics were mind blowing. But I have this thing with Nintendo 64 stuff. Like, while I have fond memories of the games like Mario 64, Mario Kart, Zelda, Killer Instinct, all that stuff, it did not hold up well.
Yeah, they really don't hold up all that well.
Gameplay-wise, sure.
Yeah.
But the graphics are woof.
And Killer Instinct trying to remember the button combinations to get those super mega combos.
Combo breaker! Monster combo!
I wasted a lot of internal brain memory trying to memorize those.
Yeah, no. But, you know, you go to something like X-Men where it's 4-player goodness. That game is replayable. Like, you can beat it, but it's fun to go back. It's like the Turtles arcade games.
Exactly.
Like, they're just great games to go back and play. And, you know, that's kind of one that I seen forever at Walmart. And then I'm like, maybe I'll get it, maybe I won't. And I never ended up getting it, but...
And now you're probably kicking yourself at this point. At least a little bit.
I don't know. The only one they truly made me want to jump to go get one was the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet. Like, that I really wanted.
Yeah.
The X-Men one I could get down with, you know, especially if I can trick it out a smidge.
Exactly. Well, let's move on from cabinets to consoles. Microsoft has announced that it is reversing its decision and will not charge Xbox Live Gold pricing.
Smart.
Furthermore, free-to-play games will no longer require an Xbox Live Gold membership to play on Xbox consoles. As detailed in an Xbox Wire post, this decision comes after an earlier announcement that it would be raising the prices of Xbox Live Gold, which would mean that $60 would have gotten you only 6 months instead of 12 months. Tony, I know you're an Xbox guy. You carry the Gold membership. I'm sure you're excited about this.
Yeah.
I like those odds.
So they're kind of confusing. They should just make it one service. They have Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which comes with Gold.
Okay.
So it's all one hybrid thing. Or you just do the Gold without the Game Pass, and the Gold gets you like 3 free games a month. And they're not games you get to pick. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're crap. Or sometimes they're games you already bought, and you're like, oh, dang it. But yeah, no, I think you don't raise the price on it, you know, not for that, because then at that point you're paying, I think what they're trying to have Xbox Live Gold as was an alternative to those who didn't want to pay for the Ultimate, you know, like if they're like, yeah, like Game Pass is cool and everything because I get like all these free games, but Xbox Gold, you know, gets you discounts on purchases on, you know, the Xbox store, so sometimes you save a little more money if you wanted to download a game to own. Things of that nature. So,
and correct
pros and cons. Me personally, oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you have to have Xbox Live Gold Pass in order to do online multiplayer for any of the games you buy, right?
Correct. Yeah. So you have to carry it if you want to go online. And I've had Xbox Live Gold for probably since the incarnation because it's the only way to play online. And it's kind of funny because I don't go online to play much. But if you want to get the most out of most of your games nowadays, you have to have it. But, you know, at least the feature's always there. I utilize mine for the free games, and I actually have mine migrated with Game Pass, and I think Game Pass is the better value because you have, like, over 20 to 30 games at your disposal to download, and you can play for free as long as they're up there. They do cycle like a Netflix, like, games change every month. Like, some games go away, some sit there. Like, great example, Battletoads. They brought Battletoads back. It's made by Rare. Microsoft owns Rare, so you can only get Battletoads on the Xbox. And it's in a beat-em-up, cel-shaded version, and it's fantastic. And I didn't pay nothing because it was included with my Game Pass. So definitely worth that alone. Because if you wanted to buy it as a standalone, it was a $20 game. So.
Yeah, and that's one of those games you would have probably purchased as a
absolutely.
standalone if it wasn't offered, but the fact that it was makes it that much better. Well, let's move on from Xbox Game Pass over to Star Wars video games. Well, Star Wars games will now be brought together under a single banner, Lucasfilm Games. Announced on StarWars.com, the company revealed that Lucasfilm Games is now the official identity for all gaming titles from Lucasfilm, a name that encompasses the company's rich catalog of video games and its eye toward the future. It marks a similar move to Xbox Game Studios and PlayStation Studios, both of which group multiple developers under a single banner. All future games, Star Wars games, will see the new Lucasfilm Games banner displayed, and we'll put up the little sizzle reel as well. And it's nice to know that EA won't be the only developer making Star Wars games. They've got sort of a spotty track record. I'm looking forward to see what they come out with, what they do, and how they continue the canon through video games under this Lucasfilm banner.
Hopefully they partner up with really good developers, because problem with EA is once they own the rights to something or they have the exclusive licensing rights, they can churn out crap and it doesn't matter. They know if they slap a pile of crap and throw the Star Wars logo on, Star Wars fans will buy it.
Yeah,
and
just like they do with
Madden. They might
Madden.
polish that turd, but it's a turd like AK Battlefront 2. Freaking terrible game.
Yeah.
The graphics are fantastic. I mean, they're dialed in. DICE, the other publisher of that game, they do a great job with the looks and feel of that game, but just the way that game was executed, and it's just not a good game. And it's overpriced. And then it's a slap in the face. I bought it when it first came out at $60 because I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm like, oh, dude, this one's going to be cool. It's going to tie in the new films. It's going to be awesome because it was right before, not Rise of Skywalker, but The Last Jedi. That's when it was last a big thing. Well, then a month later, they admitted the game wasn't all that good, and they ended up giving it away for dirt cheap. And it's like, dude, that's not fair to somebody that paid $60, dude. That's pretty weak.
Well, and part of it was the boxes, the surprise boxes that you would get. You know, you could purchase them and get better gear, and of course that pissed a lot of people off who were going through the gameplay and earning them and getting terrible gear just because they weren't paying up to purchase in-app or in-game purchases.
Yeah. So it's the microtransactions. They got greedy. But where this goes, though, is with other developers, that means more people can, like, with great visions and have they can tell a good story like the Force Unleashed. Fantastic, Mm-hmm. I will give EA props, though. The Fallen Jedi or the
Fallen Order?
Fallen Order, okay. That one was, it's a sweet game. Like, it's a good Star Wars game. Even the last one, Squadrons, that's a good game too. So EA's not completely crap. They're churning out some stuff, but I want to see competition. It's what you and I discussed on the Phoenix show with Madden. Like we're waiting for NFL 2K from 2K Sports or something. We need somebody else to come out with their vision, so that lights a fire under the ass of EA to make a better game.
Exactly.
Because if they know, like, oh crap, they're making that game and theirs is better, what can we do to make our game better than their game? And that's why competition is good. You need somebody pushing you to be your best so you don't get complacent and lazy.
Yep, competition breeds innovation.
It's in all aspects of life. Exactly.
Well, speaking of great developers and Lucasfilm Games, Machine Games, behind the Wolfenstein series, and Bethesda are partnering with Lucasfilm Games on a standalone Indiana Jones game to be executive produced by Bethesda Game Studios director Todd Howard. Bethesda tweeted to say, a new Indiana Jones game with an original story is in development from our studio, Machine Games, and will be executive produced by Todd Howard in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games. It'll be some time before we have more to reveal, but we're very excited to share today's news. This came out a little while ago, and we'll share the teaser trailer. Tony, too soon on an Indiana Jones game?
No, I can't recall any Indiana Jones game being good other than Lego Indiana Jones. It's
right.
The only game that was ever a lot of fun. But all the previous games, whether it was on the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo, place, whatever, any Indiana Jones game I've played has sucked.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to make this game good, you're going to kind of have to borrow. And what I mean borrow is look at Uncharted on PlayStation.
Yes.
It's along the lines of Indiana Jones because it's, an explorer.
Right, or Tomb Raider for that matter.
Yeah, they do those great. So if you lift some of that and you can make the gameplay, I like that. How do you say that?
Bethesda.
Bethesda. Okay, so Bethesda, they do have a good track record. Now they're Microsoft owned, so I kind of feel like this could be a Microsoft exclusive game, which could hinder the franchise if it's not going to be accessible on PlayStation or even the Switch. So.
Yeah, that could be a bummer. Or they'll do like what they did with Marvel's Avengers and give some exclusive content to Microsoft that PlayStation wouldn't be getting otherwise.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like you said, you can play as Spider-Man in the Avengers for PlayStation, but you can't in the Xbox One because Sony owns Spidey. So
exactly.
They can dictate who they want in there.
Yep. And then finally moving on to our last story, not only of the show, but also in video game news. We're talking Nintendo. We finally have our first proper look at Bowser's Fury, the expansion coming alongside the port of Super Mario 3D World for Nintendo Switch. And it features a friendly Bowser Jr. as well as kaiju-sized versions of Bowser and Cat Mario. Revealed in a new trailer, Bowser's Fury is described as an all-new bonus adventure and features Mario working with Bowser Jr., who can seemingly paint walls to create items and attack enemies. It's not yet clear if Bowser Jr. is controllable by a second player, and we will post that trailer on our Facebook page if it's not already there. But, Super Mario 3D World was a fantastic game, and Bowser's Fury is just sort of an expansion to that. It looks beautiful, and it looks like a lot of fun to play, especially after Super Mario All-Stars is just I'm still working my way through those games.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. This is another Mario game on the Switch, and that's awesome. I think this marks the first Nintendo system, if I'm not mistaken, that has just about every Mario game. It doesn't have the Game Boy ones.
Not yet, anyway.
I would imagine that that's going to come at some point. I mean, it'd be silly not to. I'm surprised they don't have them now.
Right. Well, and there's been rumors flying that, Nintendo Switch Online, they've got the NES, they've got the SNES, that will see a Game Boy version there as well.
They need one, yeah. But Super Mario 3D World, I have this game for the Wii U. Fantastic game. Was a lot of fun to play through. It played more along the lines of the 2D Marios, just in a 3D world, than anything else. So to pick them up and play is perfection. It's not like Odyssey where it's a free open world, but you do have the option to roam outside the realm. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to see the new additions they add to this game. See it in a more high-def setting, and Bowser's Fury just looks awesome.
Right.
I know it's short. It's not as... I think it's just more... They say it plays more like a Mario Odyssey type game.
Okay.
Or like Mario Sunshine versus Mario 3D World. So it'll have a little bit different gameplay mechanics. But
well, the good news is we don't have to wait long to find out because it comes out on February 12th. Just 9 days from today, from the day of this recording.
I didn't realize it was that fast. I was thinking it was the end of February.
No, right around the corner. So
that is a for sure purchase for me. That's a no-brainer right there.
Yeah, and we'll give you guys our review as soon as we pick it up and have a chance to play it because we're looking forward to it. But with that being said, that closes out this episode of the Proton Pack podcast. We want to thank you guys again for hanging in there with us. Obviously, it's been a little while since our last one, but we are committed to bring you more fresh episodes with some great news. And as always, subscribe to the podcast, follow us online, go to our Facebook page, let us know what you think, engage online. We love interacting with you guys. That's all I got, Tony. Anything else you want to say to take us on out?
Yeah, thanks for being patient with us and still supporting us. Those that come up to me in my work life and everyday life and mention about the podcast and wanted to hear more, thank you for the support. Thanks for the support of the Christian Phoenix radio show and everything else we do. So we appreciate it. It's always fun to do a whole dedicated, geeky, nerdy podcast, versus my 15-minute segment in the mornings.
Exactly.
10 minutes, whatever. Which is still fun. I try to keep it alive every day with that, but this is a lot of fun. So thanks, you guys. Happy New Year. Be safe out there, and go see movies if you can. Support the movie business.
Exactly. See you guys later. Tony, go ahead and play us out.
Peace.
Maybe.
Hasta la vista, baby. That's it, man. Game over, man. Game over. Woo! Yowie wow.
Mommy, where's Fluffy?
Goodbye.